Steele. I live in the Chattahoochee Valley. I was born and raised here. I've been paddling the river for just over 30 years, and I've seen a decline in the water level. It's taken more and more paint off the bottom of my boats.
We haven't had snow events of any significance in a long time.
Yeah.
Since the mid-'80s, early '90s, we've had very little snow. You know, your snowfall has a greater impact as far as keeping water levels up because it soaks into the ground.
I'm the third generation in my family to enjoy Lake Lanier. Since my childhood, the season really used to start first or second week of May, and about Labor Day it shut down. These days, you're regularly seeing kids swimming into the early weeks of April and into the beginning to middle of October in the fall. You're seeing an extended use of the lake through that extended season because of warmer air temperatures and water temperatures. And one of the negative impacts would be more erosion.
The seasons have been something else. This year spring was 2 weeks earlier than it was last year, and that means that the bees were swarming 2 weeks earlier, and that's a huge problem. The most way that extended droughts affect the health of the honeybee is what plants are available for them to collect nectar from. So if we have a bad drought, plants are not going to be blooming as much, and there's not as much available for them to get nectar. This year, I only harvested 1 box from all 7 hives because I wanted to leave them enough to make it through the winter, and I know they will not have another opportunity to collect any more nectar.
We're seeing a hotter, longer period in the summer. The temperatures are definitely increased. When the rains events come, they seem to be stronger. The winter crops we're having to plant earlier, and our regular crops you can plant almost 4 weeks ahead of time now.
We're here at New Eden Ecosystem, which is my farm out here in West Point, Georgia, out in the Gray Hill community. In this area, we have been having some rain shortages, somewhat drought conditions over the last couple of years. And this year, to kind of combat that, of course, I'm laying drip irrigation, which is a water conservation practice. Farmers don't talk a lot about climate change because it's somewhat esoteric to them. Farmers are more concerned about drought, which is a small part of climate change. But as far as the concept of climate change in general, that's not a conversation that many farmers that I talk to engage in.
When I hear stories about the roads being covered with salamanders on rainy nights, I mean, that's incredible. Because since I've been involved, which is only since 2012, finding a flatwood salamander has been next to impossible. They've suffered a 90% loss in population since 2000. They have very specific needs. They breed in these wide open spaces when they're dry, and the eggs will wait for rains to fill these pools, and then that's when they hatch. But now with shifting climates, more often they're not getting the rain when they need to. Some of the sites where they are currently still living in the wild are predicted to be underwater in the next 20 years.